Hey man, it's your boy Freddie Stevenson from Trials of Triumph, and I just want to say shout out to every single person that supported last week's episode with George Gomes Jr. But listen, y'all know we said we were going to bring bangers every week, and we got another one coming up this week with FSU Hall of Famer and 2013 National Champion Rashad Greene. He talks about his time at Florida State, his time in the NFL, living up to championship expectations, and how he's been able to adjust to life after football. But first, I'd love to take the time out to thank our presenting sponsor for this episode. Stein Financial is a registered investment advisory firm, building tailored wealth and asset management services for individuals, families, businesses, and trusts. I'd love to thank them for being our presenting sponsor for this episode. Make sure you give them a call at 850-737-4752. I'd also like to thank our other sponsors, Howell Buchanan Strong, E1RX, The Atlantic Films, and Concord Coffee. But man, this episode was amazing, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. Let's get into it. Well, man, you coming off the Hall of Fame induction, man.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Man, honestly, bro, that like I ain't even expected, just like the whole process of like just thinking about, committing to FSU, playing and all of that type of stuff, even being done, bro. Like I didn't even see it coming. Like, so when I got the call from Coach Norvell about everything, like it was a shocker. But at the same time, like when I look back on it, to toot my own horn, like my numbers speak for themselves. So, It was a surprise, but I'm not shocked that I was able to get in there with all those greats, like, Peter Ward, Anquan Bolden, of course, Fred Biletnikoff and Ron Simmons, just all the great receivers that had played there, knowing that, I surpassed like most of the records that they upheld for a long time. So I didn't see it coming, but man, I'm happy as hell about it, honestly.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I was happy for sure, bro, because y'all used to bother me about being quiet. You were quiet too, though.
Yeah.
So, just seeing how you went about business, bro, like, you always was about business, bro. Like, I learned from coming in early as a freshman, bro, on that team with you, Jameis, and a lot of those dudes, bro, Joanna, but really you, bro, because they had different leadership styles than, me. With you, I saw somebody that didn't really have to do all that rah-rah talking, but they was going to deliver and lead.
Yeah.
So watching you be able to get inducted, bro, that was dope, bro. For sure, like, salute, man. I'm proud of you, boy.
Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that, for sure.
I want to start in the beginning, though, before we get to that point. Growing up in Georgia for you.
Yeah.
Well,
you go ahead.
No, you go ahead. What's it like your upbringing in Georgia, man? When did you get into sports?
Just growing up in Georgia, South Georgia, that is, because it's definitely different. A lot of times when I mention that I'm from Georgia originally, people like, oh, you from Atlanta? I'm like, nah, man. Like, I'm from like South Georgia, Red Clay, Georgia, like country. Like, so just growing up in a smaller town, just being close to my family. And just, you was already playing sports, like in the fields. Like, somebody had a yard that was big enough for, for it to go down where you picking teams and playing. So I was always playing football at a young age with my older brothers and all of that type of stuff. So when it was time to like make it official, as far as putting on pads and helmets, like when my pops asked me did I want to play, like it was a no-brainer for me. So it was like, in my eyes, I'm like, shit, I have been doing it, in the backyard, so it shouldn't be too much of a difference. So at 6 years old, he introduced me to playing, official football with, I think I played for the City League. Yep, City League. Like, and the first team I played for, we was the Gators.
Hey.
So that was the first official team that I played with in the City League in Albany, Georgia, was the Gators. But I mean, that first year was a little rough for me, but after that, like, it was no turning back. Like, my pops asked me, did I want to play again? And I was like, yeah. So, from that point on, like, I never stopped playing. Like, each year of my life, from 6 years old to all the way up till I retired. Like, I played football every year.
And I know you still play in high school at Georgia, in Georgia. But what made you ultimately go to St. Thomas in Florida?
It was just really like the opportunity, man. Like playing football in South Georgia. It was different, as far as the type of football. It was definitely like more physicality in South Georgia than it was in South Florida. But the opportunity came just my pops communicating with this guy that he went to high school with. His name is Otis Miles. He went to Auburn. He know Jimbo as well. So it was crazy how everything came full circle. But him and my pops was just conversing about what I was doing in Georgia and how good I was and all that type of stuff. So it was pretty much like a challenge, to myself. And my pops was like, so, if your son is good as you say he is, like, bring him down here and, we'll see if he really good, pretty much. So, and I remember when matter of fact, we was at a track meet in Valdosta at Lowndes. And my pops came up to me, he was like, man, you wanna go to this private school in Fort Lauderdale, and play football or whatever. And I'm like, the crazy thing about it is, bro, like, I ain't even hesitate. Like, I was like, yeah, like, for sure. Like, I want to go or whatever. Not, looking ahead or thinking about, like, the change in my life that would be from, like, going to what I'm used to something totally different to pretty much, like, being on my own. So that transition pretty much came from a relationship that my dad had with Coach Otis Miles, who was the DB coach at St. Thomas, to pretty much make that transition. So, it was just about relationships, man.
And once you got to Florida, you talked about you being from South Georgia, coming to Florida. What was it like for you adjusting to, the Florida lifestyle?
It really wasn't a huge adjustment, because I was always a guy that, like, I was always fast. So I ain't have no issue with like dealing with that transformation from being like physical, a lot of like being physical, and then going to like the change of speed when it comes to certain players or whatever. Cause it was kind of like, how you go from high school and to college, and the speed don't change too much from the skill position, but like the interior, your backers and all that stuff is a lot faster. So that's what I was kind of introduced to, seeing bigger guys move a lot faster than what I was used to. But, it was a shock, because in Georgia, like I never heard of like thudding, tagging off and all that. When I was in Georgia, like, we was live every day at practice, like kickoff return. Like, so when I got to St. Thomas and they was like, oh, okay, like, we just tagging off, we thudding, like, that was new to me. Like, everything was fair game in Georgia, like, at practice. Like, you could crack back, you could do whatever. Like, it was just
in practice.
At practice, bro.
Yeah, crazy.
At practice, bro, because I remember I was playing both sides too. I was playing safety, and we had like a little scrimmage. And my best friend, he was at receiver. And no, I was at receiver. He was at safety. That's what it was. And he was coming down, and he ain't see me coming. And it was live. Like, I cracked back him. Like, and there wasn't no issue, like, amongst the coaches or nothing like that. Like, everything pretty much was, like, fair game. Like, we did Oklahoma drills every day. So it was just a lot more physical in Georgia than it was in Florida. But like, you had a lot more like fast guys, like the DBs and stuff like that was like a lot more polished and stuff like that. So adjusting playing receiver, like, I had to really work on like getting people hands off me, like during the transition, of getting on top of them and stuff like that. But I made the transition pretty quick. But other than that, man, that was the only difference, bro. It's just the physicality of the game in South Georgia is a lot different than South Florida.
How did the recruiting process change for you once you came to St. Thomas? Because that's a school, so one of the best in the country.
Bro, it changed for me a lot, and it was just an eye opener, and that was really like the reason why at the time that I made the transition. For me it was about, like, I mean, my parents couldn't afford for me to go to college and pay for that out of pocket. So it was like, okay, the only way I'm gonna go to college is pretty much playing football, getting a scholarship, some type of way or whatever. So that's what the transition was about. So when I got there and just seeing like all the different colleges coming to the school, coming to the practices and all of that type of stuff, it was like for me it was like, okay, like this is what it's about. So me making that transition, it was all like business for me, like, cause I know what I came down there to do. It wasn't about playing around and really just enjoying school and all that. Like, it was really about, like, I gotta go figure out a way to get to college. Like, I gotta get a full ride, and just being able to be heavily recruited. And I also found out that a lot of schools knew about me in Georgia, but for whatever reason, it was just a disconnection. Like, well, I didn't, I was unaware of it, until, I got to South Florida or whatnot. But man, it was a shock just to see like how interested like colleges was, into me. And honestly, like, my game didn't, some tweaks in here and there, whatever, as far as fundamentals and techniques and all that type of stuff. But my game never really changed a whole lot from my sophomore to my junior year going to St. Thomas. So it was like, I didn't really understand why I wasn't like getting the attention that I felt like I deserved. But it all made sense once I got down there, and I was just a heavily recruited guy.
During the recruiting process, as you're starting to pick up all this momentum, what were the top schools for you? Of course, you ultimately went to Florida State, but during that process, who were the schools you were looking at?
I was looking. My top schools was it was Florida State, of course. It was Miami. It was LSU, and it was Oklahoma State. Those were pretty much my top that I was really considering like going to. For me.
What made you ultimately decide on FSU?
Bro, it was about the relationships, man. Like we had went on this little, kind of like a little college tour, and then back then, when you went to go visit school, you participated in the camps. Like now, like just having a taste of coaching in college and all that type of stuff, a lot of times, your 4-star, 5-star guys will come to camp, but they won't participate. So back then, like, you wanted to go to camp to compete against the best, and there was guys like Joyner there at the time, as far as going to camp. So pretty much I went to camp, I worked out, like me and Coach Dawsey instantly clicked, like on the field or whatnot. So just that relationship with Coach Dawsey, made me feel like, okay, this is where I need to be. This is the person that I want to develop me, because of the relationship that we started to build immediately right then and there. And then Coach Fisher, just his thought process, bro. Like, you already know how I go when you go there. Like, it didn't matter if you was a freshman, junior, whatever. The best man was going to play. So
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to come to college, and I knew I wanted to play as a freshman. Like, I wasn't on that, like, sitting out and all that. Like, I wanted the opportunity to compete. So when I met with Coach Fisher, he pretty much told me, like, you come in, you do what you're supposed to do, and you the better player, you gonna play. We're gonna figure out a way to get you on the field, if you're doing what you're supposed to do. And pretty much for me, that was just like, it was just the opportunity, because I went to other places, and some people was like, we ain't really big on playing freshmen and all that. And I wasn't really trying to hit all that. So
Yeah.
for me, it was about playing, because I love the game. And when Coach Fisher pretty much told me that, and then the relationship that I, was building with Coach Dawsey, like, it wasn't nothing else to really think about at that point. So, I made my decision early and I stuck with it and wasn't really into the whole recruiting process. Like for me, it was about business once again. Like I want to figure out where I'm going and focus on my senior year and move on. Like I just knew what I wanted.
But yeah, that's why I said it earlier.
Yeah.
You were about that man about that business, man. Why is he about that business, man? But I remember being a junior in high school, and I wasn't really no Florida State fan, but I remember watching y'all in the bowl game against Notre Dame your freshman year, and you balling.
Yeah.
Like that was like you did your thing throughout the course of the season, but that was like your coming out party to the world.
Yeah.
Kind of walk me through that freshman year for you at Florida State. Stein Financial is an independent fee-only fiduciary investment advisory firm building tailored wealth management and asset management services for families, businesses, individuals, and trusts. As a fiduciary, Stein Financial is obligated to act in your interests, always sitting at your side of the table. No selling financial products, no commissions, just their expertise working as a personal CFO to help you reach your personal financial goals. They do better as you do better, just as it should be. Bennett Stein, firm founder and owner, is a CPA and certified financial planner, and he utilizes his background in portfolio management, business valuation, and tax in order to offer services to help you reach your financial goals. Plus, he's a lifelong Seminole fan and FSU grad, and he's always willing to talk about all things FSU. That's Stein Financial. Give them a call today at 850-737-4752.
That my freshman year, it was adjustments, as far as learning offense, like understanding concepts, just that transition from high school where you got pretty much like a number system when it comes to receivers, like your number tree, to now everything is like words, you understanding coverage and all of that type of stuff. So me, it was just about learning. So I came into camp, did what I was supposed to do, and as you remember, like with Coach Fisher, it was always everybody had to take the same amount of reps. So you had the twos and the fours on one field and the ones and the threes. So at the time, I was on the field on the other side. Matter of fact, it was me and Coach Coley, because Coach Coley was the OC. So the OC was on the second field and Jimbo was on the first field with the ones. And I pretty much was just grinding, bro, just trying to do everything I could to show them that, I was ready, to play and compete. And I remember Coach Coley, me and him talked about this when we was at A&M together, about how he was telling Coach Fisher, like, listen, man, this guy, you got to get him over there and, take a look at him or whatever. Even though I know Coach Fisher, like, they all watched the film together or whatnot. So for me, it was just putting my head down and really just waiting for, my opportunity. And the first game came. I didn't play a whole lot. Got in at the end with Clint Trickett. And it's crazy. Like, my first 4 or 5 receptions in college was all touchdowns as a freshman. So every time I got in the game, like, I knew I had to, like, take advantage of the opportunity, because under the lights is what mattered. Of course you got to practice and do what you got to do. But so for me, it was just about taking advantage of every opportunity. And then I think it was the Oklahoma game. I think we had some injuries. I think a guy named Willie Halstead, who was a great receiver, that I learned a lot from, he ended up being hurt. So Coach Fisher was like, we're going to start you at X or whatever. So that was my official, like, start game when we played Oklahoma, which was a huge game. Like, the year before that, they kind of got blew out when they went to Oklahoma. So, this year I know a lot of them guys was ready to, kind of redeem themselves. So it was a great game. Started that game. Had some good catches, had some touchdowns, was able to, kind of help us get in position to be able to possibly win the game. And then from that point on, man, I ain't look back. I just took every opportunity, and tried to make the best of it. And I think we played Wake Forest in Wake Forest that year, my freshman year. I ended up having a high ankle sprain, so I missed a few games or whatever. And then I came back. It was either I think I came back and we played Virginia, and we ended up losing to Virginia, bro, which is crazy. My freshman year, we lost to Virginia. That was the game I came back off of my ankle injury, and then just continuously like grinding through that, just trying to get back to where I was before I got injured. And that bowl game came, and it was an opportunity that a lot of freshmen played that game. And EJ just kept, he believed in me, bro, and he kept feeding it to me. He kept giving me opportunities. I know I had a few go balls. I had a catch in the back of the end zone. So that transition, that freshman year was just all about taking advantage of the opportunities, bro. Because you never know how it was gonna go. Like so, and at receiver, that was our philosophy anyway. Like you don't know how many times you're gonna get that shot or that opportunity. So pretty much you gotta take advantage of it. So that was my mindset, like going through that entire process, just taking advantage of the opportunity you get and just putting in the work.
That team in 2012, that was a team that had a lot of expectation. That was one of the teams that, they expected to make a run and, potentially compete for the national championship.
Right.
But then you get the NC State game that we remember.
Yeah.
Kind of walk me through that game because you just mentioned Virginia earlier. Florida State took an unexpected loss to Virginia, and there was a similar game for y'all against NC State that night.
Yeah, man. So, like, I definitely remember, like, going into the game, just having the mindset of not really, like, you knew you was going out there to play football and you was going, like, give your all and all that type of stuff, but you ain't really, like, put emphasis on, like, playing to your standard. So we came out, I think at halftime it ended up being like 16-0. And after that, it was like everything we was doing, it wasn't working. It wasn't working. Like, so it was definitely frustrating and a lesson learned, like, for all of us, that, like, going forward, like, you gotta play to your standard regardless of who you play. Because when you play, along somebody else's standard, usually you always gonna get whooped. And I think that game, I don't think we necessarily learned from it because it was like a downhill battle from that. Like, I think we lost to Wake Forest that year. I think we ended up losing to Clemson that year. I think EJ ended up getting hurt because I remember the Clemson game, Clint Trickett came in. So it was just like 3 weeks of really trying to dig deep and figure out who we was gonna be, that year, because we definitely took some L's that nobody expected us to take and losses that we shouldn't have took. Like, we should have went out there and handled business like we were supposed to. And, the results would have spoke for themselves. But when you don't play up to your own standards, like, that's usually what happens. Like, you're going to catch an L.
Yeah. Is that the same year that y'all played Virginia Tech? You had the big play at the end?
Was that? Yeah. So that was the same year that we played Virginia Tech. Like, it was a Thursday night game that we ended up going up there.
How you feel about the Thursday nights and the Friday night games?
Bro, they, like, mentally, you gotta get yourself ready, like, a lot quicker. So, coming off a Saturday game, you got Sunday was the days off for us with Coach Fisher. So, that's a short week. And if you ain't mentally into the game plan and what you got going on, like, it's easy to, like, just not be there mentally. And I think a lot of times as players, you don't really think, like, especially in college, because it's different in the NFL. Like you always got to be, that's your job. Like in college, you know, you got class, you got all that type of stuff, and it moves so quick. So you got to lock in a lot sooner, a lot faster, and be more attention to details than ever before, because that quick week happens so fast, and you got to get so much in within that week to be able to be prepared for that game. So you know, it starts with a mindset. So I'm cool with the whatever day we're gonna play, but everybody don't have that same mentality of, okay, I gotta lock in sooner, rather than you got a whole week where it's like, okay, Monday, Tuesday, you know, Wednesday, okay, Wednesday here, let me get myself right. Now you gotta start from damn near Sunday, because you gotta be able to flush that game from Saturday down the toilet and get ready to play a game on Thursday, which on Wednesday is a shorter practice. So you really only got 2-3 days of grinding it out and making sure you dot your I's and cross your T's. And if you ain't there, like it'll definitely show on the field.
I want to go back to the Virginia Tech play, man. You down 22-20 with 40 seconds left.
Yeah.
And they call your number. EJ hit you with a pass and you take it for what I think 39 yards.
Yeah. So just remembering that night, man, and I was talking to EJ about it, because they show that clip a lot on Instagram and stuff like that, man. And I was talking to Menelik Watson about it too, because that game was rough. Like they blitzed damn near every snap going into that game. So we knew, like, with that drive, it wasn't going to be a situation where we could push the ball down the field, because they was just blitzing so much. So it had to be pretty much a run and catch, or a catch and run. So we simple play, bro. It be the simple stuff that I end up like breaking. So this was a simple X cross. I know you don't heard that 1,000 times. Like he X cross. So it was simple crossing route. I was able to get underneath. I think O'Leary was at tight end. He had his little option route. He ended up breaking out, and I broke in. EJ gave me a pass-friendly catch where I could catch it and keep running. And pretty much it was just, at that point, I don't even think, like, the angles even matter now that I look at it. Because, guys took good angles, but I was just able to outrun it.
Yeah, you were moving. You were moving.
That night was just like it was a relief, to be able to get that win, especially in such a tough environment like it was. Like I just remember like the turkey gobbling like all night and all that type of stuff. It was kind of cold and all that, so it was just a simple play that we was able to execute and pretty much take the W. And guys showed up and blocked down the field, like, which we took a lot of pride in at receiver. My whole entire career at FSU, like, we wanted to block, like, we wanted to extend the play, allow y'all guys to get down the field. So it was just that simple, bro. Just a simple pitch and catch, and guys blocking down the field, allowing me to score a touchdown.
I want to fast forward to the 2013 season, especially Did you know early on in that year that team was going to have opportunity to be special?
Man, I did. And I say it all the time, like, Telvin came back. Telvin had to, like, do some online classes at UF or something like that. It was some situation where some grades was an issue with him, but he ended up coming back, and he came back like a different type of dude. Like I knew Telvin, like, of course, being on the team, but that was a different type of Telvin, and his voice really like affected everybody. That, like, when he spoke, and he gave us the little chant that we started doing and all that to fight for each other. And it was just the accountability that everybody wanted to take individually to make sure that we didn't have a repeat of 2012. And we knew Jameis was going to be the quarterback offensively. So our motto, especially in the receiver room, was like, we ain't have no expectations for Jameis, but for us, it was about making sure that it was easy for him. So like all the pressure needed to be on us, like to make sure that we did what we were supposed to do for an easy transition, for him at quarterback to believe in us. So it was like the catch the ball ain't necessarily have to be in front of you to make the catch. You had to make the great catches, to not only have confidence in yourself, but put that confidence in him too. That, bro, you can trust me. Just give me an opportunity, and I'm gonna make the catch. I'm gonna come down with it. So just going through that spring and that whole year, man, like I felt it, like it was gonna be different. Like regardless of who we play, we was gonna play up to our standards. So, and I think that was Coach Fisher third year as a coach. So it was like, and I think we was his first class. Yeah, we had to be his first class, 2011. So it was about, at that point, it was like, okay, he done put us together. Now it's time for us to really show like what we all teamed up in the recruiting process to come to do. So when that year came, man, it was special. And then after that Pittsburgh game, Jameis' performance, like at that point I was like, yeah, we're gonna win it. And the way we continued to practice week in and week out, like we just kept getting better. So I knew like ain't nothing gonna stop us. And then the BC game also, like in my head I'm like, okay, now we was faced with adversity. You're like we letting these guys hang in there with us, and it was right before half, and I think Jimbo wanted to take a knee. We was losing, so a lot of guys were like hell no, coach, like let's take a shot. And that was the play that he scrambled, hit Kenny Shaw in the end zone for the touchdown before half. So it was just the mindset of the players and how we believed in each other, how we operated, how we policed our each other. Like the coaches ain't never had to say nothing about getting going in practice, all of that. Like none of that. We made sure that all of us was ready to go every day. Because if you wasn't, you was going to get hit in the mouth. Like if I wasn't ready to practice and I came up to the line BSing, Jalen, he was going to jam me. So I had to make sure like that I came every day prepared to get better, or I was gonna get embarrassed at practice. So I knew that team was different from the summer.
The game that everybody said that year was gonna kind of be the measuring stick for us was that Clemson game. I think before we blew out Clemson, they was projected to be the team that won it all that year.
Right.
But I don't even think we believed that it was gonna be close.
Bro, like just being in the locker room, just the confidence we had in Jameis, like being young and showing that leadership, and he kind of like, it was crazy, bro. Like it was a different type of feeling than being ready, cause like, of course, like most of the time you gonna have a little butterflies before you play, and then once the game get going, you good, bro. It wasn't. That game, like I had no butterflies, like I was relaxed, I was poised, I was ready to play, I was locked in. And he just, like his words and leadership just made everything like so much better. So when we came out there, like from the first snap to the last snap, we just dominated. Like I remember like not being able to even like hear myself talk, like when we was warming up and all of that, and the fans like talking trash, because in Clemson, like the fans right behind the bleachers, so they saying all kind of stuff. But we was able to really shut that up like quick. Like we really dominated that game, and I don't think nobody expected it to be that way. But I feel like we did.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. The confidence in that locker room. I remember Everybody know Jamie's speech, but I remember Timmy.
Yeah.
Timmy came in, he like, man, ain't nobody said this got to be close.
Yeah,
and it wasn't close.
Definitely, bro. Timmy was an animal.
For real. I was telling, I forgot who, Jimbo, when I was talking with Jimbo, I remember I came in as a linebacker, dog, and one day everybody was just having MAs on defense.
Yeah.
And Tim was like, man, that person mess up, I'm knocking them out.
Yeah.
Nobody ain't mess up the rest of practice, man.
Bro, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you didn't need, and you know teams are special when you don't need a coach to say nothing. Like, nobody had to say nothing. Timmy said it. And everybody respected him. And that was everybody's brother. So it was like, okay, all right, my bro say we need to get it together. And it wasn't taken personal to the point where it's like, all right, he's saying he's gonna knock me out, so I'm gonna try him and see. You know, because some people just do that. Like, I'm gonna mess up and see. Like, it wasn't none of that type of vibe. Like, if we fought, it happened and it was over with. And we brothers. Like, it wasn't never nothing like personal. And you know, it was a lot of fights at practice. So, you know, but it never made it outside of that football field. Other than that, you seen the same two people fighting, you know, walking to class together or out together, whatever the case may be. It was just all business.
Men weren't built to coast. We were built to conquer. T1RX delivers physician-led testosterone therapy and supplements foraged for operators. No fluff, no excuses, just results. Visit T1RX.com and take back the edge. I want to fast forward to the national championship game, man. That whole entire year, we got used to shoot every game. It ain't close.
Yeah.
I'm a freshman. I'm only getting reps. If y'all boys blowing folks out, and I got in there just about every game, y'all was handling business. So I'm like, shoot, I'm finna get in the national championship. But that thing, it was close, man. Walk me through that game, because Auburn in the first half, you know, they gave us everything we were looking for real.
Yeah. Pretty much like you said, man, they gave us. They punched us in the mouth quick, like, but it was a situation where I think the preparation and just how we went about our business, like week in and week out, like, I don't think it was a situation that we wasn't prepared for. Because you think about it, you go back, like, every time we practice, it will always be a situation where Jimbo will put us in where it's like, all right, it's the end of the half, and you down 2 scores, they get the ball back, you got to score, you know, to bring it to a 1-score game, to put yourself in position, you know, or whatever the case may be. So it was always situations that he created for us, so mentally we would be able to prepare for any situation in case it came up in the game. And that never changed, even though, like, we was blowing everybody out. Like, his mentality of preparing us never wavered. We was always get put in difficult situations at practice that we had to overcome. So when we got hit in the mouth, it was like, okay, cool. Like, we down at half, but this game's far from over. So we gonna make our adjustments, and we're gonna go out there and do what we're supposed to do and take it play by play. And when we came back out, you know, we looked like a different team. We was able to make the adjustments, do what we need to do. We had some huge plays and huge calls by players and coaches, you know, just to get us back where we needed to be. And at the end of the game, like, that 2-minute situation, bro, we did that every Thursday against the best defense in the country. Like, so when we got the ball back with 2 minutes and something on the clock, like, we do this in our sleep. Like, this is a reflection of our habits. Like, because we worked on it every Thursday. We was put in this situation every week. So it's a no-brainer that we're going to go down here and score and execute and do what we need to do to win this ball game. Like, we done came too far to lay down right now. Like, no. Like, so at that point, it was just about simple execution, man. And the plays he called was pretty simple. You know, we were just able to do what we needed to do.
Yeah, when you broke early in the 2-minute drive, I like, yeah, the game over. Yeah. It's over. It's over.
Bro, Like, and people ask me about the horse collar, like, and at that point, I'm like, bro, once I broke it and split them, like, I don't give a damn what kind of penalty they didn't call. Like, we in the red zone now. This game over with. So regardless of whether they wanted to give us that flag or not, like, it didn't even matter because I knew we was finna go, we was finna score. So I'm like, we done did what we needed to do at this point.
What's the feeling like for you, man? Being all that work that been put in, being a guy that was, overlooked at one point in your career, and now you're a big part of one of the best teams in college football history.
Bro, for me, bro, I can't even say it's a dream come true, man. It's like a dream that I could never imagine, bro. Because for me, it was always about like just putting my head down and working. Like even being able to, accomplish the things that I accomplished, and even returning to school, after that national championship year, I wasn't even aware of how close I was to the records that I broke and all that type of stuff. It was always about, continuously working, trying to get to where I wanted to be. So now looking up that I ain't really in it no more and doing the work, like I'm like, damn, bro, that's a reflection of what you put in something is what you get out of it, and not doing it for the accolades and the praises and all that. Like I did all that stuff, bro, because I love to play ball. And on top of that, like the group that I was a part of, like honestly, bro, I just didn't want to let y'all boys down. Like I wanted to make sure that when the ball was thrown to me or when my play was called, I came up for y'all. Like, cause I ain't never want to be that player that my teammates look at me and be like, dang, bro, you should have made that play so we could have been in a better situation to win. So for me, it was always about being accountable to the guys that I played with. So, because I know what we go through. Like all the sweat, the blood, the tears, that grinding, bro, that I know it ain't easy. So I never wanted to be the person to be able to let y'all down, bro. So it was like, you got to keep going. You got to keep going. And now to see what I was able to accomplish individually while not even putting myself first is just amazing, bro. And that's just a testament to God and just having faith and just doing for others, and you'll get the individual stuff in return. So that was always my thought process, bro. If I put this team first and do what I need to do to help us win, God gonna take care of me on the individual level. So that was always my mindset. So now looking at this stuff, like what's going on and being inducted, bro, yeah, individually, like I, accomplished that stuff, but ultimately, bro, it was a team effort. Because when you think about it, and this how I think, I play receiver. Like it takes so much. It's so many other things that have to go right for me to get the ball. I can't help but appreciate guys like you, the offensive line, the quarterback. I got to get a perfect snap. I got to get perfect protection. I got to get perfect read by the quarterback. And then I got to make sure I'm doing my part of getting open, beating the defender and all that type of stuff, bro. There's no way impossible that I could have accomplished all this, bro, without y'all. So it just, for me, it's great, but at the end of the day, I know it's just a testament of me putting my team first, and I'm able to accomplish this other stuff.
Yeah, no, I think the play in your career for me, just getting to know you more over the course of the past few years. Of course I seen you work then, but the play for me that stands out and just embodies everything you stand for is that play against Clemson in 2014 when Jameis was out and Sean hit you at the end of the game for us to tie the game up. It's like we struggling, we looking for an answer, and we can't really move the ball, but you came up in the clutch and you delivered. And for me, man, just seeing that's how you move. Like you that teammate, not just on the field that we can count on, but off the field. If somebody ever like needs you to reach out to And that's rare, man. Like that teammate you can count on if you need somebody to chop it up with. And if you're gonna do everything in your power to make it happen, like that says a lot about you as a person, man. And I know at the time, y'all used to bother me for being quiet, but I come from an environment I don't trust a lot of
Yeah,
people. So you always see me, I'm quiet and I'm observing. So but just seeing how you move, I'm like, shoot, I respect him. I see how he move like that. When you're quiet, you see a lot.
yeah,
And just getting to know you more over the course of the past few years, bro. Like my respect done grown for you even more. It's one thing to do it on the field, but to see how you move after the game, bro. Because that's what this is. It's a fraternity, bro. I take more pride in being that dude. Like even if I know a teammate that I play with may be all over the place, it's like, bro, if he need me, I'm gonna be there.
for sure.
Or do my best to be there, and just to see that's how you move, bro. Like that's who you are on the field, bro.
Bro, I appreciate that, bro, and it just, bro, it just goes back to who I am as a person, bro. Like I ain't never been no like selfish person, and none of that, like, bro. So it was just like all that stuff, bro. It's just a no brainer, and just allowing me to be the person that God created, bro, and even in that time, just bringing up that game, that Clemson game, bro. Like I don't fault Jameis for what happened and all of that. Like, we all in college and kids and, just having fun and all that type of stuff. But I knew at the end of the day, like, okay, now this is the time for me to not necessarily take Jameis' place as the leader, but I know I got to step up and elevate my game a lot more to help Sean. It wasn't about me. It was about Sean. Like making sure his confidence was where it needed to be. Like I know Coach Fisher, had to prepare and mentally and all that, but nobody saw that coming. Like that was hit with us at the last minute, or whatever the case may be. So it was about the team. Like what I needed to do in order to help us win this game, bro. And that last play, and Sean struggled, a little bit throughout that game with, I felt at certain times that, I was a part of the read. I should have been hit or whatever. But you got to have patience with with everybody. Everybody deserve a little grace. And that last play, something just told me, like, say something to Sean. And I usually don't. Like, I usually just let everything flow. Like, the game going to come to me. But that was a time that I felt like, okay, I got to do something. And I told him, I said, regardless of what the play is and what your read is, like, throw me the ball. Like, I said, throw me the effing ball. And he looked at me, and he just nodded his head. So at that point, I remember the play. It was a backside corner, and he let it go. And the defender tripped up and fell. And at that point, we was ready to go into overtime at that point. So, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do for your family. And y'all still to this day in my family. So it was no brainer that, I'm going to do whatever I got to do on the field.
Well, I want to get your thoughts on the 2014 team, because in 2013 we got used to blowing everybody out, and that was a dominant team. But then 2014, I felt like every game we coming from behind to win.
Man, like I felt like I enjoyed that to a certain degree, because I felt like it was a lot of young guys on that team. I think that was the young Dalvin Cook, and all that type of stuff. So that was a young team that I'm pretty sure they watched, our success over that last year, and they came in and they was ready to play, and a lot of guys left, went to the draft, or, seniors and all that type of stuff. So I thought it was a good year for them to learn, man, that like that it don't go like that. Like you don't just walk out on the field and just dominate every game. It's a reason why we dominated in 2013, and it came from the preparation, the focus, the commitment, the accountability, and they had to learn it, So for me, I was cool with it. Like, all right, we down. what we gonna do? So it was just like you said, like every game it seemed like halftime. We figuring it out. We got to make the adjustments. But I felt like it was good for them, for the younger players, because the next year when I left, when James left, it wasn't a huge drop off far as winning games and stuff like that, and knowing how to win games. So it was always about like them, like we got to keep this thing going. Like it ain't just about winning while you there. You want the guys behind you to have the same success. But in order for that train to keep rolling, the guys that's behind you got to learn. And what other way to learn by facing the adversity like we did in 2012? Losing. 2011 losing to games that we shouldn't have lost. So it was just a good time to be able to show them guys what facing the adversity look like and how you can overcome it, just overcome it, and what you need to do in practice. Cause it wasn't them same type of practices from 2013. Like some of them young guys didn't know how to practice, and we was trying our best to show them how it's supposed to be done. So some of that stuff was a result of not being prepared properly, but just making the adjustment, just finding a way to win.
Man, it's the Louisville game. Nick bothered me about this every time I see him, bro. When the touchdown I scored at the end of the game, you talked earlier about taking pride in blocking when somebody else got the ball.
Yeah.
And y'all don't know, I played the whole game with a migraine. Like I used to have, I don't know if you remember, Jimbo remember though, I used to have a thing where they used to call me Percy Harvey growing up because I had the migraine.
Yeah.
And some days I wouldn't be at the practice.
Yeah.
So I got a migraine early on in the game, and Jake was finna take me to the locker room, and they called it like regular. They called out regular. I'm like, bro, I gotta go in, man. I ain't finna just, because they don't know what's going on. They ain't finna leave them hanging. Yeah. So that whole game, I just wasn't able to come out.
Yeah.
And the only reason I was able to function, I don't know if you know about migraines, like your eyes get blurry, your vision get darkened, you got a major headache. Mm-hmm. So only reason I was able to function is because Louisville had the red on their jerseys.
Yeah.
So I was able to see that.
Yeah.
And other than that, I couldn't see nothing, man. So on that last play, Jimbo called it. And I'm like, bro, I hope Jameis don't make me reach out for the ball or nothing like that, because I'm going to drop it. Like, just put it on me. So I was like this, and then I felt that I just clamped on it fast.
Yeah.
But then when I turn around, you look at the video, bro, all I think about in the video, bro, I run and then I cut back. But then I always look back at you. You just walking back. Yeah. I'm like, I know shot. Like, man, what this man doing?
Bro, yeah, dog, man, and that was a tough environment, and Louisville had a good team, that year. So we went up there and played them. They definitely jumped out on us and stuff like that. But I definitely remember, certain days you couldn't practice and all of that type of stuff. But it was always the toughness. Like the dog in you, the desire to, like, I gotta be out there where you can't build that. Like, that's just something that gotta be in you, bro. And that's just a testament of you, like, wanting to make sure that, like, listen, man, I can't let them boys down. Like, cause who else would have went at fullback if it wasn't for you?
Nobody.
It wasn't, we ran a pro style offense, so not a lot of people like recruited fullbacks and all that type of. That was that part where they was kind of transitioning out of that fullback stage and stuff like that. So, bro, I knew you was going through it, and I already know like how it is just having to push through, and not want to miss out on it, bro. So that's just a testament of who you are as a person, bro, and what you stand for.
I don't even really want to talk too much about the Oregon game. Man, that game was crazy. I think when we started the game off, and I think Nick, he either pulled or tore his hamstring in warm up.
Yeah, everything. But me, bro, everything that could have went wrong that game went wrong, and it wasn't a situation where like I felt like we completely got dominated. Like, it was just mistakes, like self-inflicted wounds is what Jimbo used to say. And in football, like, you can't turn the ball over a whole lot and expect to win the game. So it went back to, the younger guys. Some of them, we had a few fumbles. I think who fumbled? Like it was a few fumbles like where it was like we was moving the ball and we would turn it over. So as soon as we get some momentum, something will go wrong. And at that point, like just from a schematic standpoint, you can't have your defense out there like too long. Like especially with a high power offense like Oregon had, like you was gonna get wore out. Like so at that point, like it was just nothing that we could do. Like we just everything went wrong that could have went wrong.
I will give them their credit though, because you know how we feel in the South. Like we feel like you got Georgia, Florida, Texas, all of. We feel like football here the best, and you feel like anything West Coast soft.
Right.
So going into the game, we were like, man, the boys soft. I will give them. And them boys in them trenches was real. Like you got
and it was
what's his Armstead.
I felt like they just wanted to take me out of the picture. Like I was getting doubled. Like I remember one time I was like, we was in like a bunch set. It was tight. It may have been like trio or something like that or whatever. I remember the defensive end coming off and like hitting me. Like so I'm like, they really just trying to like use it, like take me out of the picture and force everybody else to get the ball or whatnot. So I mean they came ready to play most definitely. So hats off to them. Respect what they did and them going on to playing in the national championship.
We would like to thank Howell Buchanan Strong for sponsoring today's episode of Trials of Triumph. They are a healthcare licensing and professional licensed law firm headquartered in the capital city of Tallahassee, with offices located throughout the state, assisting those with healthcare regulation compliance, healthcare transactions, and other healthcare defense. If you're facing legal problems, you're going to need a strategic defense. Howell Buchanan Strong is Florida's trusted law firm to help you with your licensing issues. I want to get into your rookie year in the league. You get drafted to the Jazz in the 5th round. Then your first game against the Panthers, you score a touchdown. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Dog, it was definitely just being drafted, bro. It was a dream come true. Like, of course, it ain't like go the way that I thought it should have went, but I was still like appreciative of the opportunity because that don't just happen by mistake, bro. Like you don't just get drafted off of luck. Like it has to be something that's worked over time, over and over and over again. So I was just out of my mind, excited about just even being drafted, living out my dream as a kid. And my first NFL game, I was able to get my first touchdown. Like it was, I was definitely excited about it, bro. I couldn't ask for much more at that point.
For real. And then the play I remember from your rookie is that return.
Yeah, we played the coast. Yeah.
that one was walk me through that one. That was cold.
Bro, like with that play, and that probably was the like one of the easiest returns for a touchdown that I could say I had. Like our special team unit, like they did a great job. It was like return right, something like that. So when I watched the ball off his foot, so I'm like, dang, like he booted it to the point where like I always, take a look at the gunners and see how fast they coming. I'm like, he kind of like kicked it out of their coverage where they wasn't, keeping up with the ball fast as it was coming, and it was a little deep. So I'm like, in my eyes, I'm like, okay, just secure the catch and let everything else happen. So once I caught it and made the first guy kind of miss, and I saw daylight, at that point I was like, it's over with. Like at that point it was just like doing what I do best, and that was running.
Yeah. The rest of your time in Jacksonville, of course, battling with, injuries and things of that nature. That's the one thing I will say, like, it's a blessing to play in the league, and you just never know how it's going to play out from there. We play a physical game, man. You blessed to even, step in that league, and some of us, unfortunately, run into, injuries, Then, of course, you went to the CFL and decided to retire a year later. What was going through your mind, trying to figure things out after you navigating the space once your playing career is over?
Bro, just even just touching bases on what you're saying, like just that process of like being in the NFL and having to like battle things that like you typically that you don't see coming, and that was pretty much like my NFL career, like my even my rookie year, like I end up tearing a ligament in my thumb. I think we played the Dolphins, so I was on IR like for like 6 weeks, and I came back, finished out the year. So I had a solid rookie year. Um, Came back the next year, had some soft tissue issues with like in both of my Achilles. So, and that's something as a player, like you want to play so bad that like you put yourself in situations that not necessarily good for you all the time. So for me, it was just like I'm just gonna keep pushing through. I'm gonna keep pushing through. I'm gonna keep pushing through, and it just those injuries just really started like to affect me mentally, like and physically to the point where I'm on the field and I'm hurting so bad, and nobody knows this. I'm hurting so bad that I can't really function the way that I'm, at my best. And and ultimately when you put yourself in that situation, like good things don't happen because your mind ain't there, physically you ain't there, and all of that type of stuff. So, that was pretty much like my career in the NFL, like just going through injuries and not catching a break. And then, like when I finally did get myself where I was good and kind of back to normal, staff change, at that point, like it's over with. If they got
Yeah.
their mind made up on certain guys and what they want to do, like, you could forget about it. So, you know, after that, after I didn't get picked up in free agency, I was just looking at plan B. Ultimately it was like, okay, how can I get myself some more film to get back in the NFL? So, say I'm gonna go to the CFL, see how that work out, see if I can get myself back in the league, and then COVID hit. So at that point, I'm like, this is crazy. So and I'm battling with the decision on like, do I really want to do this? Is it gonna be beneficial for me? Because at that point, I was like, if I can't go out there and give them the Rashad Greene that they seen on film, it's a disservice to myself, you know. And that was really where I was at with it. Like it was just like getting up every day training started becoming like a pain. Like I wasn't really feeling good, and I was doing everything I was supposed to do, like far as taking care of my body, like being professional, like I ain't do no hanging out and all that crazy stuff. Anyway, that just wasn't who I was. So I can't say that like I didn't do what I was supposed to do, and that was something that I battled with for like years of asking myself like, did I do enough? Like, did I not work hard enough? Like, just battling them demons, man. Cause you don't really know who you are outside of that game. Like, you can't make it to that level without putting everything that you got in you into it. Like it wasn't no plan B for me. Like plan B sounds good. Like when you talking to somebody, oh yeah, when I get done playing, I'm gonna do this, or whatever. Like regardless of where your career end, whether you play 2 years or 12 years, bro, that transition is real because you've been doing that all your life. So regardless of what's gonna happen next, bro, it's still like something that you miss out on because you love it. Like
Yep.
you put your all into it. So that transition, you know, for me, like it's still an ongoing battle, bro. Like it's still ongoing. Like I reminisce all the time. Like my family, my wife, they ask, "Do you miss it?" Like and sometimes I get just a generic answer, like, nah, I'm good. But deep down inside, bro, yes. Like, I miss it. Like, I barely even watch football, like, to this day, especially NFL. Like, because it just brings up like so many memories and me stepping away from the game, like not on my terms. And that's what I was big on. Like I wanted to walk away when I was ready, not when they was ready for me to walk away. And of course, like being in the NFL is a blessing, bro. Like it took me places that I could have never imagined. But just that transition and losing football, like it's still an ongoing battle, to this day, just trying to figure out like what's next and who am I outside of the game and all of that. Cause I mean that's what you tied to. You think about when you come back to Tallahassee or you out. Like they know Freddie Stevenson from you playing at FSU. You was on the Chicago Bears and all of that type of stuff. Like Rashad Greene. Like, bro, I appreciate what you did at FSU. Like I just had somebody tell me that yesterday at Publix. So that's what your identity is tied to. So it's hard to escape it. Like you just gotta try to navigate it and do your best. And I think that's where the fraternity, the brotherhood come into place where we all gotta truly like stick together, like navigate this thing together. Cause nobody understand it. Like it's easy, and it's even therapists. Like it's easy to go and just say, okay, you need to go to a therapist, but no fucking therapist understand like what we truly been through, what we really put into it. Like it just it ain't no answer for it, bro. And I think the answer is us being, continuously having that brotherhood to help one another, to just have somebody to talk to reminisce. Like you think about the atmosphere that you have in the locker room, like that's your escape from everything else, bro. Just being in the locker room next to somebody, just chopping up, laughing, playing, whatever you doing. Like, so it's still, bro, it's still a transition for me that, like, I'm getting used to. I'm just navigating it and, just trying to be the best father I could be. And my boys play ball. So, just being there for them, like, it's still, that brings a lot of joy, just seeing them having the same energy and fun as I did when I was their age.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Like even though I'm starting to, ultimately find my way and purpose, my true purpose in life. Sometimes I find myself like, dang, bro, like I'm out here with the camera doing stuff. I feel soft, boy. Like, I remember running through somebody's face, man, and like just getting back to that point, like. At one point, I was a beast. I was a dog, and it's a dude. He a Green Beret. I go at Vero Beach, and we be doing like tactical training with him and some other people from the Special Forces.
Yeah.
I was just sitting down with him like a month ago. He's like, Freddie, what's your goal? I'm like, man, I miss being a beast, man. Like that's what I miss being. Like I miss that. Like all this like filming and all that stuff. That's cool, but I gotta like. I go boxing and do a lot of stuff like that, bro. Like I enjoy sparring, even if I were getting towed up by a professional boxer, bro. Because like I'm in that element, He was like, man, I want to bring you out here, practice some shooting and get you back into that. He's like, because you don't have to stop being a beast once your playing career is over. And the reason I say that is because he a Florida State fan. And he extended the invitation. He was like, man, if you ever got any former teammates that want to come out here and shoot and just kind of unwind and get away from life for a little bit, just let me know. And they always open to come in.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to come, hit my line, bro. Just get away, bro. It'd be peaceful. For me, it's kind of the way I unwind.
Bro, nah, I feel you, bro. Because I be like, even because I coach my son 10U team. Like I'm I guess like an OC or whatever, offensive coordinator, call the plays. And shoot, at practice, bro, we be running them, they be running hills. Like I find myself just start running hills with them, bro, just to get that same feeling and rush of, just being around the game and doing like stuff like that, bro. Like I just find myself doing the same stuff, bro. I stand next to my son and we'll just run hills together, like, and I definitely feel that, bro. But most definitely, bro, I'll take you up on that, just to be able to escape and just just be around, some people that you like got the same mindset as you, bro. It's a different type of ball game.
Yes, sir. But man, I appreciate you, pulling up on me. As much respect as I got for you on the field and how you carry yourself off, I think the biggest accomplishment you done made in your life is what you just talked about. It now, a father that's in your children's life, husband, man. That's the most important hat you can wear, man. And just seeing how you setting the example for them, man. That's inspiring, bro. Like even me, I just got married to my high school sweetheart last year.
Yeah.
Like we were, back and forth. Cause I think you talked about it, bro. Like for me, after the game was over, for me, I was going back and forth, bro. You see a lot of people that was there, they done left you, but they ain't never really mean well by you. And then she continued to stand by me. Like I'm talking about, she's short. You know how them short women be, bro. They out there, but she like, man, y'all don't know he gonna be back on the top and y'all gonna be right.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. And she was standing for me when I'm at my lowest, bro.
Yeah.
But the problem with me was, and this ain't no excuse, I should have been married her, bro. But for me, it's like I ain't never, like it took me a while to see that again in myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like in this dark spot. Even when things started started happening for me, it's like, man, shoot, I still ain't where I want to be. And I felt like, man, I got to be at a certain point before I'm able to, marry you and provide for you the way that I want to. But it's like, nah, I learned like, man, you got somebody that's on this journey with you, good or bad.
Yeah.
But it's just been inspiring to see you from afar, man, with your family, man. That ain't no marriage, it ain't no, we still growing as parents. It's our first time, but just seeing you lead the way, bro, that been inspiring to me in my journey.
Bro, most definitely, bro. That's what it's about, bro. It ain't no. And as you can see, even doing your podcast, bro, it ain't no good time. It ain't gonna never be the perfect time to do anything, bro. You just gotta do it. We try to psych ourselves out of, stuff sometimes and just, to stall it. But at the end of the day, bro, that's your partner. Like, your partner gonna be right next to you and y'all gonna do it together, bro. And honestly, like, that was one of the reasons why, like, I kind of stepped away from the coaching deal. So, Jimbo, like, love him to death. Like, and I know at the end of the day, like, I can call him up and, he'll help me as much as he can, and I appreciate it. And, he gave me a job at Texas A&M, and at that point, like, I had my youngest then, like, he was a little under 1. So, we had him move to College Station, and then he ended up getting diagnosed with autism. So that was new, that was new for me and my wife. Like, neither one of us knew, what to do, how to navigate it. And we was in Texas, pretty much just us, just us and, our 3 boys. And it just came to the point for me, it's just like, I can't let her fight this battle, by herself. And being in coaching, like, and, I'm sure Coach Fisher probably shared with you, bro, you pretty much, we started at 7 a.m. and we done by 11 a.m. Like, so I'm at the facility all day, and letting her navigate the therapy, all of this stuff. So it just came to the point where it's just like, I love football and I want to be a part of it and I want to be a blessing to, other kids and helping them and all that. But, I got to put my family first. I can't put football ahead of them at this point in my life. So that was really the reason why, like, I stepped away, from coaching. It was just like, I got to fight this battle with my partner, and help our son together. He need to see that I'm there with him, as well. And then the other 2 not being neglected by, his disability and them not getting attention. So it was just like, it was hard, bro, to walk away. And that shit really brought tears to my eyes when I had told, I talked to Mark, because he was there, because Jumbo ended up being out of the office when I had shared the information that I had to step away. But yeah, man, you just gotta do what you gotta do, and you gotta do it together as a family, bro, because we can't get nowhere, by ourselves, and that's why I said, like, yeah, this Hall of Fame stuff and the records and all of that stuff was put on me individually, but it wasn't accomplished as an individual. It was accomplished as a team, bro, because I couldn't have done it without none of y'all.
Yo, nah, that's respect, man. But And I appreciate you pulling up, man, and, you know, sharing your story, you know, part of your story. And, you know, I'm just looking forward to, you know, following that journey, bro. You know, we locked in. So, like I said, I'm for real. Like, one thing people know about me, so K-Shaw, I saw him at the game, I think 2 weeks ago. Like, man, Freddie ain't talked to many people, but the ones he talked with, he's solid.
Yeah.
So now the ones I'm locked in with, bro, like y'all hit me up whenever, bro. If I can't make it happen, I'm gonna try to figure out who can for you, bro. And I know y'all wired the same way. Yeah, so hit my line whenever, bro. You know I'm gonna hit your line. We've been trying to link for a minute, but I appreciate you pulling up on me, bro.
Yeah, for sure, bro. And my jet be having my phone all the time, so it be like it be delayed sometimes with getting back, cause he'll grab my phone and stuff like that. But yeah, bro, I'm always here, bro, and whatever I can do to help and push it forward, bro, I'm always willing.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, man. So, appreciate you.
All right, bro. Appreciate you. Love you, man.
Love you too, my boy.